Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Well, the Knicks are reeling, and I went through their game versus the Mavericks to examine what is going on. And we looked at what's happening with the Mavericks as well, and how their players have struggled to maintain a consistency based on their past achievements. So, check it out. Don't forget to go to bballbreakdown.com to read our companion article because we have stats there that'll really blow your mind. Novak does his biggest damage playing the 4 position, and watch how Dirk Nowitzki is literally going to fall asleep on the best shooter on the floor and let him get wide open for a corner 3. In transition, you got to find Novak. Watch Yi Jianlan point out that his man is open, and Odom doesn't speak Mandarin, doesn't pick anybody up, and it's a splash. We'll get back to Novak later in the fourth quarter, but watch Roddy Beaubois. He is basically taking the role of J.J. Barea, where he can break men down, isolate, and get his shot off with interesting step-backs. The Mavericks like to spread the floor and run pick and roll with Roddy Beaubois, as he has a lot of speed with the dribble. Watch how he penetrates and sucks the defense in and kicks it, gets the ball back, and has a really interesting floater. With the shot clock winding down, Beaubois is at his best because he can freelance and spread the floor and get a quick screen, and he can actually pull up from the 3 pretty well and nail that jumper. With this low angle, you'll see just how quick he is with the ball to the basket. He has a variety of shots, as you can see by the blow-by into the lane and a nice floater. And if you don't hedge to contain him on the penetration, he'll turn that corner and get right to the basket. Landry Fields has suffered the most with Melo's return, relegating to a spot-up shooter and not slashing and driving as much as he did. Here you'll see him in his best when he can get to the rim, and even though he misses, they'll get a putback because he collapses the defense. He's also a little effective with the pick and roll on the sideline, as teams will have to watch him as he quickly gets to the basket and he can dump it off to the screener for layups. Fields was getting a lot of cuts to the basket from off the ball before Stat and Melo came back. Now he's barely getting any of these kind of cuts for baskets. Vince Carter has surprised even me with his efficiency on offense. However, he's not very good at catch and shoot. With a mismatch down low, Fields versus Dirk, Vince Carter doesn't cut away. He brings his man back, forcing Dirk to give it back to him and getting that jump shot. He makes it though. It wouldn't be a breakdown without a good criticism of Vince Carter, and here, awful shot in transition, a foot inside the 3-point line. At his age, Vince is unable to really put the ball on the floor and get to the basket, and while this isn't a bad shot, he was missing it all game long. Another good shot from the corner off a double team, but if he's not going to make this, he ain't going to help you much at all. And on his threes, you can see that he just doesn't have hardly any elevation left in those legs. A pleasant surprise for the Mavs is Mahinmi. He has been really active, and I want you to watch how he dribbles out of this 2 dribbles to get the outlet pass and then sprints the floor. Perfect play for the big man, finishing with a dunk. For all you young players, I want you to watch Mahinmi's footwork and how he stays squared up to the rim as he's moving to the spot to get the shot. Catch and shoot, splash. His energy has really helped the Mavs on defense, and when they do take a shot and it might miss, he's always very active attacking the boards and getting tip-ins. One reason that Melo gets criticized for being a ball stopper is that guys like Mahinmi can move over, get in his way, and be ready for him if he drives to the basket. Here you'll see Jan block the crap out of that ball, sprint the floor. The Mavericks are opportunistic in their break, and you'll see Mahinmi in the right place at the right time for the dunk. Let's talk Amar'e Stoudemire. He's gotten to the point now where he's so gun-shy he won't even post up when he's got a good opportunity, and instead relies on the other teammates to set him up to get shots. That's not a bad thing for this team because there's so many guys that want to shoot, but watch how he rolls and doesn't finish. Can you imagine this happening a couple of years ago? He has definitely lost his aggressiveness. Here he hesitates before shooting that jumper and it misses. He gets the rebound, doesn't even face the basket and look to attack before passing it out to Lin. After screening, he has a chance to attack that post, get really deep position, and really put pressure on the defense. Instead, he shies away from Dirk, catches the ball way out on the perimeter, and settles for a jump shot that bricks. Part of the problem is they're not getting him the ball in spots where he used to do so much damage. On the high post, he can take Mahinmi to the basket and hit that nice running jump hook. And when he plays center, he can stick around the basket and get nice feeds from Lin and dunk the ball with ferocity. D'Antoni still hasn't figured out who should screen for who and who should be in which position. They don't get enough of these kind of plays, side-to-side penetration, dish, and a dunk. Dirk Nowitzki is radically different from the player he was at his peak, and believe it or not, in the pick and roll as the roll man, he is merely average in his points per possession. However, when he can pick and pop and dribble the ball before shooting, his rating shoots up the charts to excellent. In his old age, he posts up a lot more than he used to, and we all know you can't let him turn over his right shoulder, even though this year he's been a little less effective doing the Dirk leg. However, turning over his left shoulder, he's just good enough to keep you honest. And here's a good adjustment by Jared Jeffries. Watch how he will just subtly take away the turn over his right shoulder and force Dirk to go to his left where it misses. Note to D'Antoni, you can't really screen for Melo because they'll hedge, get the ball out of his hands, and he'll just stand around, becoming a non-factor in the play. The Mavs begin their first run to take over the game by Stat reaching in and not taking away that turn over the right shoulder. There's Dirk leg. Stoudemire just doesn't look like himself. As he gets his ball on the key, he has a chance to swing it for a cutting Fields for a dunk, but he hesitates and then misses the fadeaway. Again, screening for Melo, they take the ball out of his hands by doubling him, making Stoudemire a playmaker on the perimeter. Not a good plan for the Knicks. And here come the Mavericks on the turnover. They race down the floor, and Marion gets a nice little running jump shot. The Knicks put Novak at the 4 and go on their own little run. After a screen and roll switch, you'll see Nowitzki get pinned down, and Novak gets wide open for the 3. I've been telling you how much better Nowitzki is on the left block. However, the Mavericks love to go to him on the right. You'll see Harrelson peek out over that right shoulder to try and take it away. Doesn't take it away, but he does force a miss. The Mavs attack the right block again with Nowitzki, and you'll see Stoudemire make him turn over his left shoulder. More often than not, it's a bad miss. While the Knicks are on a 15-0 run, it took them 7 minutes to do it with lots of ugly offensive possessions in between their makes. Here, look how far Odom has dropped. He can't even catch a pocket pass that would have been a nice shot for him. Instead, drops it off to the Knicks. They go running, and there's Stoudemire with a dunk. Desperate for a bucket after a timeout, the Mavs run a play that either gets Dirk Nowitzki in the low post on the left side or the Jet on the perimeter to attack. They get it to Terry on the perimeter, who penetrates and kicks. However, Jason Kidd doesn't shoot the 3, and they get a 3 from Marion, of all people. So now it's time for Dirk to go to work. They even double team him, but he still turns over that right shoulder and nets that Dirk leg. At this point watching the game, the Knicks have now clawed their way back, and my thought was, what is Baron Davis still doing in the game? Well, he turns the corner on this screen and roll and proceeds to throw the worst pass I've seen in a long time off the rim as a turnover. They foul Dirk, give up 2 free throws, and some serious weirdness. Down 5 with lots of time left, Melo jacks up an awful 3, but wait, Stoudemire gets the rebound, and there's Novak, a full shot clock, and instead he jacks up a jump shot that misses. They come racing down, and watch how Novak in transition needs to pick up Jason Kidd. Instead of actually trying to guard him at all, he goes underneath the screen by Dirk and gives him all the time in the world to ice the game.